Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something a little different today. We're looking at educational book numbers. You know those ISBNs you see on the back of every book?
Right.
Well, there's a whole other system.
Yeah.
Specifically for educational materials.
Yeah.
It's called the ESBN. And it's got a pretty interesting story.
It does,
Yeah.
yeah. Think about the huge variety of materials. Textbooks, workbooks, educational games even.
Right.
Even things like documentaries and music used for learning, the ESBN. Well, it was created to handle all that.
But before we get too far, maybe we should back up a sec. But specifically for educational stuff.
Yeah.
So what makes it so special? What makes it stand out?
Well, for one thing, imagine like a rural school in, say, India.
Okay.
And they need a specific science textbook from a small publisher in Europe.
Oh, wow.
Before ESBN, connecting those dots. Logistical nightmare,
Yeah, I can see that.
but with a unique identifier.
Mm-hmm.
For that textbook, suddenly it's searchable, trackable, and much, much easier to get into the hands of those students.
Wow. So it's not just about numbers then.
No,
It's about making sure the right learning materials reach the right people. That's huge.
it is.
But how does it actually work? I mean, what does an ESBN even look like?
Okay, think of it like a passport, but for a book.
All right.
It starts with a global prefix, kind of like the cover of the passport. And for ESBN, that's always 197644. Then you've got the country code. Like a passport tells you someone's nationality.
Okay, so I'm following. So what comes after the country code?
Next is a unique number for the book itself. That's like the passport photo, you know?
Right. Make sure no two are mixed up.
Exactly. Then there's a section for the publication year, so you know how up-to-date the material is.
All right. So we've got the prefix, the country code, a unique book number, and the year it was published. What else is packed into this educational passport?
The last part, this is really interesting. It's a single digit, and it tells you what type of educational material it is.
Oh, wow. So a textbook would have a different code from, like, a workbook
Exactly.
or a song or a documentary film.
You got it.
Wait, so there are different types of ESBNs, depending on what the material is. Tell me more about these different types. Like, what kind of stuff are we talking about here?
Well, you've got the classic textbooks, of course.
Right.
But then you've also got things like enrichment books, you know? The ones that go beyond the standard curriculum, diving deeper into specific topics or offering a different perspective.
Yeah, those are great for sparking a kid's interest in something new or taking a subject they already like to the next level.
Exactly. And those have their own ESBN type code. Then
Yeah.
you've got reference materials like dictionaries, encyclopedias, atlases,
Right.
all the good stuff you need for research or just satisfying your curiosity.
Oh, yeah. Those are my go-to when I'm trying to learn something new. What else is there?
Think about worksheets, both for students and teachers, great for practice and reinforcement. And then there are reports and collections of best practices, which can be incredibly valuable for educators
Right.
looking for new ideas and strategies.
It's amazing how ESBN encompasses all these different approaches to learning. It's
Yeah.
like this system isn't just about organizing materials. It's about recognizing all the different ways people learn best.
That's a great point. And it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
We also have things like modules and e-modules, those self-contained units of instruction often used in online learning. And then there are monographs and research reports, which dive deep into specific topics and can be really valuable for academics and researchers.
So from textbooks to research papers, it's all covered by the ESBN system. But what about stuff beyond the printed page? You mentioned documentaries and music earlier.
Right. So we also have a category for educational films, songs, and media. Think about the impact of a well-crafted documentary or the power of music to teach language and culture.
It's like ESBN is acknowledging that learning goes beyond the printed page. It's embracing the full spectrum of educational content. What's fascinating to me is the potential for this type of tracking. I mean, imagine being able to see what kinds of educational materials are being used most effectively in different parts of the world.
Exactly. That data could revolutionize curriculum development. We could identify underutilized resources, pinpoint regional learning trends, and even spot potential gaps in available materials.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've talked about what ESBN is and all the different types of materials it covers, but who's actually using it? Is it just for big publishers?
Not at all. It's designed to be accessible to anyone creating educational content. Think university presses, faculty and department presses, even individual educators who are developing their own materials.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there is thinking about creating and sharing educational content, it sounds like the ESBN is something worth looking into.
Absolutely. And it's easy to get started. You can find all the information you need on the ESBN International website. They even have a contact form if you have specific questions. Speaking of the website, one thing I found really interesting is that they have a real-time validation checker for ESBN codes.
Oh, so if I see an ESPN on a book or a website, I can actually go online and verify that it's a legitimate code.
Exactly. You just enter the code and it'll tell you if it's valid and what type of material it corresponds to. It's a great way to add a layer of trust and authenticity to the system.
I love that. It's like a safety check to make sure
Yeah.
you're getting what you expect. So if I'm understanding this right, the ESPN is more than just a way to organize educational materials. It's a tool that can help us understand how people learn, connect educators and students with the resources they need, and even ensure the quality and authenticity of those resources.
You've got it. And there's one more piece of the puzzle we haven't talked about yet. The ESBN barcode. It's not just a bunch of numbers. It actually has some really cool design features.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this barcode. What makes it so special?
Well, it's based on the Code 128 system. It's known for being super versatile and it can handle all sorts of characters. But the really cool part,
Yeah.
the ESBN barcode, it has a customizable frame.
A frame, like a picture frame.
Exactly. Publishers can actually choose from all sorts of different colors to match their book covers, or their branding. It just adds like a little touch of personality.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just functional.
Right.
It's got some flair, too. So what colors are we talking here?
Oh, you name it. The source mentioned white, green, yellow, blue, orange, black, and red. I mean, it's a whole rainbow of options.
That's so cool. It's like they took something, that could have been just a boring block of lines.
Yeah,
And they turned it into like a design element.
it really does. It shows how much thought went into the ESPN system. They really considered every detail to make it practical but also visually appealing.
Wow. So it's super user-friendly, too. As we've been talking about ESPN, I keep thinking about the potential, Like, it feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
I totally agree. Think about it. If ESPN became as widespread as ISBN, it could completely transform the way we discover, share, and use educational resources.
Imagine
Yeah.
a world where every textbook, every online course, every educational video had its own unique ESBN code. Be like a universal language for learning.
Exactly. We could track the flow of knowledge, see what resources are being used where, and even identify gaps and then connect educators and students with exactly what they need.
And the research possibilities,
Yeah.
mind-blowing. We could analyze data on a global scale, understand learning trends and outcomes, and make really data-driven decisions about educational investments.
Right. It's a really exciting prospect. And let's not forget about accessibility either. With ESPN, we can help make sure that everyone, no matter their location or socioeconomic background, has access to quality learning materials.
It's like ESPN is laying the foundation for a more equitable and effective educational ecosystem.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of ESPN, what are the key takeaways for our listeners today?
Well, ESBN is a unique identification system designed specifically for educational materials. And it's not just for textbooks. It covers a wide range of formats, from workbooks to documentaries to online courses.
And it offers some huge benefits, including improved standardization, access, tracking, recognition, and affordability.
The ESBN code itself, it's like a little passport for each piece of educational material. It's got information on its country of origin, publication year, and even the type of material it is.
And don't forget that stylish barcode with its customizable color frame.
Right. It's a really well thought out system, and I truly believe it has the potential to revolutionize the way we manage and access educational resources.
Well, I, for one, am thoroughly impressed with ESPN. And for our listeners who want to learn more, we'll be sharing some resources in the show notes, including a link to the ESPN International website.
Be sure to check it out. There's a ton of information available, and you can even get in touch with the ESPN team if you have any questions.
So to leave you with one final thought,
Mm.
what if ESPN became as ubiquitous as ISBN in the world of learning? How would that change the landscape of education? It's a question worth pondering, folks. And as always, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Till next time.